featuring Professor Ken and Reek in the Lion's Den.
What's up?
What up, bro? Today I think we should talk about Breonna Taylor and the injustice on the black woman.
Breonna Taylor and the struggle of the black woman. Matter of fact, their family received $12 million. Is that hush money? Or will they continue to speak about the injustice that was served against their loving daughter, family member, auntie, whatever you may want to label it as?
Well, given the nature of one's earning ability, if you get $12 million and you divide it by any given number, it still won't be worth the value of life.
Correct.
Because, say for instance, if Miss Taylor would have came up with the new concept for FaceTime or a new concept on how to improve the iPhone, she could have got $12 billion in one move. So I always say this, and I say this reluctantly, that the richest place on earth is the graveyard, because the graveyard have so many rich talents. You don't know how many Michael Jordans, how many Dr. Martin Luther Kings, how many Einsteins and Plato and Socrates and Mozarts and Mansa Musas and Sunni Ali's that's in the graveyard. So whenever you think about the graveyard or you think about death, you think about potential. Potential is something that you're about to do, not nothing that you've done already. So when you stifle potential, you stifle life. You stifle the gift that that person would have gave to the world. Who knows what Miss Taylor would have gave to us? But Miss Taylor is just a microcosm in the big scheme of things. Black women have been going through hell since the beginning of this country. Black women are the only women on the world, in the history of the world, have been used in the same perspective of a pit bull dog as breeders. They would take the strong black women, the healthy black women, and her job was to have sex with as many men as she can, that were of strong stature, healthy black men, as we would say, that was built, that had muscles and that can produce a strong slave. And they would take this strong black man and put it with this healthy black woman. And she had no choice. We talk about pro-choice. The black woman never had a choice. She had to sit there for 250 years and become a breeder. Her child that she was bringing to the earth, she knew that one day would become a slave because she was enslaved. And that is a travesty to the black woman. The black woman is the most raped woman in the history of this country. When you go back and you look at some of those old slave pictures, and you see them light-skinned babies, those are not mixed marriages. They didn't have mixed marriages during slavery. Those are women that have been raped and produced the slave master children.
Right.
Because if two Africans have a baby, the baby gonna come out African. If the baby come out mulatto, it's a 90% chance that woman either had consensual sex or she was raped. And we know that black women weren't even allowed to be with white men. Black men weren't allowed to be the white women. So we know that it was massive segregation going on at that time. So that means that all of these children that came out light-skinned was the product of the master or the slave master raping our sisters. The black woman was the first one to experience rape. She the first one to experience trauma. She the first one to experience seeing her child being snatched from her womb, sent off to other states in this country that she never would see a child again. So the injustice that you see on Miss Taylor is injustice that's been going on for years in this country. No one suffered like the black woman. Even after slavery, the black woman suffered more domestic violence than any other race of woman, any other ethnic female group in this country. Black men were allowed to beat black women mercifully, and the police would come by and say, y'all need to straighten that out between you and your boyfriend. You know, my mama suffered abuse. My friend's mothers suffer abuse. The black woman been suffering abuse for the longest, and nobody ever cared. You know, they still use the black woman. I mean, the Democratic Party is most supported by the black women. Most organizations, you know, that we see in this country that have any substance is controlled and ran by black women, and they still don't get no credit. Now, let me ask you a question. You're a grown man. When something happens, who do you call? Your mama or your daddy? If your daddy is still alive. Even if you had the privilege of having a daddy, who would you call first? Your mama, right?
Yeah, usually that's how it goes.
Okay, well, in most cases, you know, we hear the term mama's baby because the mother is the first teacher. She nurture you. She take care of you. She confide in you. When your daddy tell you that you can't have something, she sneak and give it to you anyway. When your daddy tell you can't go outside, she just wait till you leave, baby. Okay, you go outside, but make sure you come in before 10 because you know your daddy going to be home by 11. This is the case of the black woman. This is the experience of the black woman in this country. Black women have suffered tremendously. You know, but black women are the backbone of not only the black family, but this entire family, the entire human family. Why you say that, Ken? Go back to slavery. Let's go back to slavery again. In slavery, who do you think took care of the slave master kids? Where do you think the term nanny come from? You know, she was the nanny for their kids.
Right.
That's why when you see black women being educated, and you see black women being smart back in the day, it was because those children who were the slave master children would set aside time to teach their nannies how to read because they were appalled that the nannies couldn't read, so they would give them their books and they would show them everything they would learn in school. Those kids would come home and teach the slave woman who was the nanny for them. If you look at in this country, every time where it's been some type of great movement, you know, or some great success, even though they say this is a man's world. You know, you got Madam C.J. Walker, one of the first black millionaires in this country. You know, you got Harriet Tubman, you know what I'm saying, who was fierce. You have Rosa Parks, Coretta Scott King, Oprah Winfrey. You know, just great women of valor. You know, great women. You know, I mean, women who have been very instrumental in some of the greatest things that happen in this country. You remember the movie with the spaceship, what they call it, with all them black women help. What was the name of it? When they all went to space, they was working, and I think
I know
the lady Taraji.
Yeah, the title slips my mind right now, but I know someone out there that's listening to us knows.
Well, our audience know what we're talking about. Right. Well, a lot of people didn't know that spaceship, the mathematics and the floor plans and all that came from black women. Correct. You know, I mean, man, you know, they have been doing our women injustice for a long time. And like I said, we have, you know, some of the greatest moments and some of the most monumental times in our history come from the black women. Like I said, Harriet Tubman, you know, Madam C.J. Walker, Oprah Winfrey, you know, Maya Angelou, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Dr. FrancesCressWelsing. You know, Dr. FrancesCressWelsing was one of the pioneers of teaching us about white supremacy and what white supremacy was. She was the leader in psychology in that area. A lot of people didn't know what white supremacy was until Dr. FrancesCressWelsing wrote the book, The ISIS Paper. You know, so when you think about black women, you know, you got to think about struggle. You got to think about all of the things that our sisters went through. You got to think that we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the endurance and it wouldn't do and the tolerance of the black woman, because the black woman suffered more than anyone. She the one who went through the rape. She the one that was forced to sleep with somebody that she didn't want to sleep with. She the one sometimes when the black man got sick and he they beat him to death. She would be in the field, picking the cotton, take it on both jobs, going home and cooking and picking the cotton. So yeah, man. First of all, America owed the black woman because it was the black woman that kept the black family, together. You go back, if you're old as I am, you remember grandmama's cooking or big mama's cooking. When big mama used to invite everybody over and all your cousins and all your aunties would come over and everybody would be cooking and she'd cook that real good meal. The food's so good that you don't want to swallow. You keep it in the back of your tongue so you can just keep tasting it. Big mama's cooking. That was for a purpose. She brought us together so she could keep the family together.
Right.
It's when Big Mama stopped cooking, that's when you start seeing all the killing. And all the people cooking dope, all of our brothers and sisters trying to self-medicate themselves by using drugs.
Right.
But it was Big Mama cooking. It was those home cooked, those family gatherings that kept us together. You see all that begin to dissipate when you start disrespecting the woman. When you start taking the man out the house and leaving the woman to fend for herself. That's why it's so important, especially back in the 70s and the 80s, to have welfare program. Because the welfare program was based on giving the black woman aid. They used to call it aid, welfare. And what welfare would do, welfare would give the black woman $800 and about $600 worth of food stamps, depending on how many kids she got. And then the criteria, though, what makes you qualified, she wasn't allowed to sleep with the black man. If the black man was caught in the house with the black woman who was receiving food stamps, her food stamps would be cut and her welfare would be cut. So a lot of black women, even though they know they was jeopardizing their children and jeopardizing their family, they still allowed that black man to live in that house. And become a recipient of those food stamps and of that welfare.
Right.
And a lot of black women lost their food stamps and lost their welfare because the black woman, even though it was socially engineered and it was a diabolical plan to break up the black family, the black mother was adamant, was strong on keeping the family together. So she would take a chance on her and that child being kicked off welfare just so that man could be there and help her raise that kid so the kids could see a father figure. And that's what destroyed the family. They ended welfare. They made it harder for the black woman to get welfare, to get assistance. And people always say, man, what are you talking about, Ken? Welfare, assistance? Why would you want to have welfare? Why would you want to have assistance? Because we pay taxes. What you think taxes is for? That's why I can't understand why people are not getting stimulus checks right now. Because they need it so dearly right now because people are starving out here. That's what welfare is. It's a stimulus. It's to get you a little jerk so you can get back on your feet. And it never meant to be permanent.
Right.
But when they cut the welfare out and they stop those little stimulus from coming to the community, consequently, drugs enter into our community, and you start seeing drugs being sold on a wholesale level. You started seeing mothers, women, grown women, walking around smoking crack, acting like damn fools. You thought they were losing their mind. They weren't losing their mind. Trying to self-medicate. It's depression going on. It was a real. If America have a recession, the black community have a depression. It's always hit harder on us than it is on other communities. So the black woman had to bear all this, and then for the United States, the assistant attorney, whatever he was, the district attorney, to not give Breonna Taylor justice, it just fits the narrative that's been going on for over 500 years in this country. The black woman always have called hell. You know what I'm saying? They would have been, they give a black, they would have gave, if it would have been a black man, they probably gave him, they probably would have charged the officers. but anything to denigrate the black women. You know, the black man disrespect the black woman. The white man disrespect the black woman. The white women, some of them, not all of them, disrespect the black women. The black woman is the most disrespected person on earth, but yet she's the most smartest and the most brilliant and the toughest thing you ever gonna see. Ain't nothing stronger than the black woman. The white woman will tell you that. Black women are so strong. White women can't go through half of the hell that the black women have suffered in this country. Who can go through seeing a child pulled from their hands and sold into slavery? Who can go for years having sex with men that they never met in their life just so they can breed children? Who can go from having a slave master or a man that brought them over to this country against their will, having sex with them and raping them, and not only raping but their cousin and their sons and whoever want to have sex coming in there and just having sex with them, using them as a sex object. And not only as a sex object, they're making them work for 10 or 15 hours in the field. Only the black woman can do that. Go read the story of Madam C.J. Walker. This was a black woman in the early 1900s. She was so strong, man. She was so strong, she became a millionaire. Look what Harriet Tubman did. You know what I'm saying? Look at Search on the Truth. Look at some of these black women. One of the first, Kamala Harris is not the first woman that ran for president. It was a black woman ran from the president in the 70s. Go do the history. I ain't got to tell you the name. Y'all go research.
Right.
Go look at some of the inventions. Go look at the space program, the Kennedy space program. It was black women that sent the white man up in to the moon. If it wasn't for the metrics and the chemistry and the science of those black women and the mathematics, we would have never sent a man to the moon, because it was the black woman that told them that if they send a man up into the moon, that the rocket was going to explode in orbit. They had to change their metrics. They had to change their algebras and all that, whatever that stuff called. I ain't no scientist, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I mean, they had to change all of that stuff. So, I mean, all praises is due to the black woman, because, she has been through a lot, and she has held the black family together. She has held the Democratic Party together. She has held the black men together. It was her who refused to sit on the back of the bus that created the entire, civil rights movement. It was Rosa Parks. Martin Luther King did not start the civil rights movement. It was Rosa Parks who started the civil rights movement. It was a black woman by the name of Michelle Obama who was the most dignified and the most respected woman to that position ever. She was the most respected first lady you ever seen in your life. She had so much dignity and so much grace. I mean, when you seen it, she just seemed like silk. You know what I'm saying? The average woman that went through what we went through, that was put in that position as Michelle Obama was put in, they wouldn't have been able to sustain that position. Black women quick to snap their finger and pull their hair back and you ain't gonna talk to me like that. You know how crazy our women can be. Mm-hmm. But that woman held her composure through the whole 8 years. She held her tongue. She suffered all type of ridicule. She accepted all kind of disrespect and criticism. And she stood by that black man, Barack Obama, and made that man look like the king he was.
Now tell me this. Tell me this, Professor. What happens now? Nobody's being charged for a death. Family done got paid off, and they already done sent the troops into that particular region of the state. So what happens now?
Well, what happens is we got to come up with a plan. We got to come up with a vision. See, one thing about a vision don't not only tell you what to do, but it tell you what not to do. Your vision leads you to your destiny. Your vision leads you to your goals. And once you have a vision and a plan and a strategy, and you play chess and not checkers, you can change the narrative. See, it's two things in life that you're going to experience at all times. That's time and change. Time only can be regulated, and time can only be measured by a plan. What do I mean? In 2022, on January 14th, I'm going to buy me a new Benz. The Benz ain't here yet, but in time, you will get the Benz, hopefully by 2014. But time does not wait for anyone. We've been on the phone for 45 minutes. That time is gone. We'll never see that time again, bro.
Right.
The time you spent with your child today is over with. If he's 4 years old, he's 4 years old in a day now. So you can't get time back, and change is constant. You can't change time. You can't change. I don't care how old you is. In 20 years, you're either going to be slimmer or you're going to be fatter. Your hair going to either be black or it's going to be gray. Your perspective is going to be the same or it's going to be different. But it's going to change. It's going to change. Change, but you can change. You can control the change. So if we want to change our perspective on what we're going to do with our women, we have to write our goals. We got to say what we're going to do to change this. You know, we're going to have to say, well, we're not going to be the same way. We're going to be disciplined. That's change. I'm not going to let people call me names and affect me anymore. That's change. I'm not going to have an emotional response to an intelligent situation anymore. That's change. By 2022, we're going to put this on the calendar. That's controlling time. So a vision and a plan is necessary. Every seed must be planted. You know, the seed is what germinates.
Right.
If you put a seed in the ground and you fertilize it and you water it, it's going to produce an apple tree. But the tree produces apples. But the tree never benefits from the apples. You see what I'm saying? So,
right.
One of our great teachers have taught us that you never benefit from the fruit you bear, but you plant the seed. So once we plant the seed and the tree erects and the fruit come from the tree, we're not going to receive the benefits, but the people who come after us, they would benefit from the fruits of our tree.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? We just have to plant the proper seeds. We have to look forward, and we got to understand what a seed is. Like I said, if I put a seed in my hand, it's an apple seed, and if you say it's a seed, that means that you playing checkers and not chess. But if you say it's an apple, that means you getting closer to chess. It means that you're not playing checkers no more. But if you say it's a tree, an apple tree, because that's what the seed is going to bring, then I said, now you're really playing chess. But if you want to be a master, you got to look at that seed and say it's a forest. It's a forest tree. It's a forest of apple trees that's going to produce more apples. So we have to plant seeds with the prognosis and with the understanding that this from these seeds is going to germinate more seeds and more apples and more trees. So that's what we have to do. We have to plan. We have to plant seeds. We got to understand time and change. We got to understand that time is not permanent. You know, it's not eternal.
Yeah, it's ever changing.
You know, the Creator is eternal. But what the Creator did, he took time out of eternal and gave it to man. So time never was when man was not. If a time would come when man was not, it would come when man would begin. Man never did begin. Man has always been here. But the Creator have taken out time so we can measure time. And not only did he take out time so we can measure time, but he's so marvelous in his creation and his laws, because everything happened according to law, that he also gave us the sun to let us know it's daytime and the moon to let us know it's night. And then if that didn't help you out, he said, okay, well, when it rains, it's spring. When it's hot, it's summer. When the trees fall, it's fall, and when the snow come, it's winter. So not only did he give us time, he gave us the ability to measure time. But as scientists and as intelligent men and women, we have to understand the season. See, right now, we're in a good season. I just traveled all throughout Milwaukee. I traveled throughout other cities. All I see is Black Lives Matter. And it ain't black folks. It's white folks. Now, that just means that certain people is coming to understanding that they know who really matter. Because even though if it's a fad or a trend, we really do matter because we're the original people. We're the first teachers. We're the first mathematicians. Everybody that's learning from us. You got two types of imagination. You got creative imagination and you got synthetic imagination. Synthetic imagination is when you say, Reek, he developed an airplane, but I'm gonna develop the control system in the airplane. But it was from Reek's imaginations that created the plane. But it was my synthetic imagination to improve the plane. Then you got imagination, creative imagination. That's when you create something from the beginning. And that starts in the mind. See, the thought is the cause of it all. Once you put something in your mind, you say, I'm going to do it, you create that thought. Then that thought goes to faith, and then that thought goes to belief, that belief goes to faith, and that faith goes to fruition. And then it comes into existence. So that's what we have to do. We got to understand spiritual things. We have to understand how the mind works. We got to understand that the thought was the cause of it all. We got to understand seasons. We got to understand the time. We got to know how to measure time. We got to know how to predict time. Because your habit don't live in the future. Your future does not get you to your habits. It's your habits that get you to your future. It's your repetition. It's the things that you do repetitively that causes you to manifest your outcome. So we got to get into the habit as brothers and sisters to understanding not only what everybody else understand, but understand what our task and our mission is. And we have to tell ourselves every day that this is our mission, this is our goal, this is our plan, this is our mission statement. And we have to follow it to the letter, and that's when we're going to start seeing results. You know what I'm saying? Understanding nature, understanding laws, understanding time, understanding change, understanding the season, understanding how things germinate. Because it's all in science. All you got to do is look at the science. Look at the tree. The tree, you plant it in the dirt. Look at animals. Animals eat from the dirt. When you read the Bible, if you read the Bible, it says that God made man from the dirt, then he breathed in him life. The science is in the dirt. But what's in the dirt? The dirt is what causes the thing to grow. When you plant something in the dirt, when you plant seeds, it germinates and it manifests and it shows the bud. So we got to understand that we got to become farmers. And we got to put something in the dirt. Once we put something in the dirt, then we can see the manifestations of what we planted. We can see the fruit of our labor. We might not enjoy the fruit as the tree does not enjoy the apple, but we can indeed plant the seeds in our prodigy and our prodigy and our children can enjoy that fruit. So that's what we have to do.
And that's a heavy feat for people to do, but it must be did.
Well, amen. Whatever the mind believes it can see, if it can achieve, as a man thinketh, so is he. You know what I'm saying? I promise you, everything I put my mind to, brother, and I think hard enough on it, I don't know why this happened. It always comes to fruition. It's really a fact that whatever man thinks, he can bring into existence. You know what I'm saying? So if you think you're a fool, you're a fool. If you think you're smart, you're smart. And just thinking you're smart will make you go do smart things, like go to the library, make you get on Google, make you get on the YouTube and start researching because you think you're smart. But if you think you're dumb, you're going to shine all those things. You don't want nothing to do with no Google. You don't want nothing to do with no dictionary. You don't want nothing to do with no computer, no YouTubes, because you think you're dumb. So it's all depending on your thinking. How you think is going to determine what your outcome is going to be, because every action have a reaction, every cause have an effect.
This is my book, The Art of Human Chess. It's a bestseller, New York best time seller. And this book here sold millions, sold all over the world, all throughout the prison system. This is the book, The 48 Laws of Game PhARAOHS. Make sure you get these books. If you don't want to buy the hardcover, if you don't want to buy the paperback, then the best thing to do is go to iTunes on your cell phone and type in my name, Pippin Ken, and I guarantee you the book will pop up. If that don't work, go to audible.com, type in my name. If that don't work, go to amazon.com, type in my name. Anywhere books are sold all over the country, you can get my books. These are my best-selling books. You hear people talk about them all the time on Instagram, on Snapchat. These are definitely some good reads. Please get my book. I guarantee you that you will never be the same. Your life will be impacted, and also your life will be enhanced just by getting these two books, The Art of Human Chess and The 48 Laws of Game. Just like the 48 Laws of Power, just like The Art of War.
Too cool to count 24/7.